5 of Mesilat Yesharim. So now we're going to get into a person got to the point where I agree, I have to check my deeds, and I have to work on myself, and I have to push myself to get Olam Haba, and to do the mitzvot, and to become close to Hashem. And the real enjoyment, the real joy and happiness in this world is finding my purpose and connecting to Hashem through the Torah and mitzvot. I agree, Rabbi. But now in this chapter we have to speak about things that could take away this focus, take away this mentality, and you have to stay away from those bad things. What are those? There's 3 things that take away from your watchfulness over your neshama, over if what you're doing is good or bad. Number 1, tipul v'tirda olamit, being too preoccupied and too busy with mundane matters, and therefore you don't have time for self-reflection, and you like we said before, Paro made them so busy. And then sheni shok ve'elasun, when a person is a scoffer and he makes jokes out of serious things, that also takes away, the people have this mentality sometimes. Yalla, no, come on, really? You're gonna get punished because you didn't do it exactly the same. Hey, come on, exam it's too much. Don't worry, Hashem Himself will forgive you. Don't worry, me and Hashem like this, right? Right?
What if he is?
But these are, if Torah says it's not allowed, how can you make a levity out of this? How can you make a joke out of this? Don't worry, Hashem has Rahami, we're the Banim Atem Hashem, we're sons of Hashem, Hashem will forgive us, don't worry about it. So these things, that's what keeps you away from being serious about your actions and seeing what's good or what's bad. You just think it's a joke. The third one is Hevra Ra'a, bad friends, hanging around the wrong people, and they feed you their mentality all the time. So it'll kill your mentality, it'll kill your fervor for doing the will of Hashem. Now obviously, we have to be involved in this world. We can't be not working all day. We can't be not around people all day. We can't be not hearing jokes at all day. These things are part of our life. So we have to know how to balance it. We have to know when to go in and when to come out. As it says, for example, by business, right? The Pirkei Avot says, "Hamema'ed be'esek ve'asok b'Torah." Okay, the sages know you have to work. Okay, so go and do your work. It's not that your work is your life. You try to do as little as you can in order to be able to have time to learn, to have time to pray, minha, arvit, shahrit, and to learn in the morning, learn in the evening. Do your job. Be happy with your job. Enjoy your job, but do it and then move on with life. Don't get stuck there and even after work hours be hustling and bustling about your work, and everywhere you go and people you see, you only talk about work, and everything in your life is about work. So you could suck your whole energy and your whole life and your whole day to where you have nothing left to give to Hashem. So therefore, a person has to be careful not to fall into that, and also a person has to know that if you take it too seriously and it becomes too much of a value for you, it can become even a value more than the Torah. It can be that you come to make decisions financially based on what the finances say as opposed to what the Torah says. A guy says, listen, my bottom line is what matters. I need to make money. So I have to trick this guy, and I have to go and not tell this guy this, and pretend this. Okay, my bottom line is going to win, so it's worth it. That's a person who thinks with his finances. But a guy who thinks with the Torah, he says, no, if it's not honest, it's not honest. I can't do it. So a person has to be careful not to let this one override this one. A person's a doctor. Right? He says, well, the patient needs this procedure, but it's not, financially, advantageous for me to give this guy this procedure. I know the patient needs it, but it's not good for me. It's good for him. I don't know. Should I just tell him I don't take your insurance? Should I just tell him go somebody else? I could be taking somebody else, make more money off of him instead of this guy. So all these morality choices that a person has to be careful that his business mind and his business mentality doesn't take him over him and just make him do what's wrong. Just because that's what the business has to do. That's what the money says to do. The person has to do what the Torah says. And if you're too busy with the business, slowly, it can start giving you that mentality without realizing. You have to be careful. And then he says, "Kamamar Pinhas, Torah miviyah lidei zeiru." So how am I going to do this? How am I going to not let my business mentality take over me and think? A lot of times people came from places where there was communism. And they say, oh, well, Rabbi, over there you only survived if you stole, if you had lied and cheated. There's no way to survive, They messed us over, we're going to mess them over. What can we do? and they come here and they come to a different country and they think, oh, everything is same old, same way, business as usual. Just keep doing what you're doing. I lied and cheated over there, I can lie and cheat over here. Even though over there was sakanat fashor, over there was a completely different situation. But here, it's okay. You become wealthy through lying and cheating. And a person has to know that's a very normal thing the Yetzer Hara will trick you to doing. So how do you beat it? Maybe I should listen to some self-help and I should listen to some guru who tells me how to overcome through psychological methods my bad thoughts and negativity and being positive and manifesting and all these good things projecting onto others with positivity and it'll bounce back. Says the Pinchas Yair, stop, leave all that stuff alone. Torah mivei lidei zehirut barati Yetzer Hara barati Torah tavli. Imagine a guy, he's sick. He has, there used to be a thing called scurvy. You went on a ship, you could get this thing called scurvy. The way you healed you is you give a guy a big dose of vitamin C. That's it, the whole disease went away. So he says that the only thing is vitamin C. You give him anything else, doesn't help. He'll stay and stay. You had to give him vitamin C, that's the only way it works. So the same thing, the Torah tells us, the only way to beat the Yetzer Hara and to beat all these jokes that they make about the Torah, and to beat the, not giving in to your bad friends, and to beat, well, you shouldn't have those bad friends, but if you are around them, to beat them, to get not to fall into their mentality, and to be able to beat, thinking about the money and do what the Torah says, not what the money says, is only Torah. That's the only antidote. There's nothing else. Imagine the guy says, I want to bake a cake, so you have to use flour. No, I want to use eggs. You have to use flour. No, let's do it with eggs. No, the way is with flour. That's the only way. With Torah, that's the only way. As the Rebbe Meruzhin says, he saw a young Hasid who was trying to fast and reading all these Tehillims and doing all these acts of piety. And he said to him, what are you trying to do? What is this? All this stuff you're doing. He said, I want to break my bad midot. So the Rebbe Meruzhin told him, listen, you're going to break your neck before you break one of your bad midot. You have to study Torah, do the mitzvot, all the bad traits will fall away. A lot of times people, they want, Rabbi, give me seriousness segula, give me some serious segula for parnasah, serious segula for refuah shlema. If a guy would tell him, rub your tummy and hop on your head, he'll do it. It's a segula. It's the Zohar, this is segula. What about the Torah saying, learn Torah and do mitzvot, be a good person? That's hard. Who wants to do that? That's boring, Rabbi. No, Torah maybe it is. What?
They're looking for shortcuts?
Yes, a lot of times they are looking for shortcuts. I'd rather say Nishmat Kol Chai 40 days than to work on myself, than to break my bad traits. It's easier. Just give. There's sometimes people wait. No, it's good. It's gulot. It's gulot on top of doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's great. Why not? It's like you eat your main meal and then you take some vitamins. But what's the point of taking the vitamins if you don't eat them? You don't eat the main meal. How can you have this without this? You have to be wholesome, right? People say, oh, this Rosh Chodesh is a very special time. 5 minutes that there never was in the world. If you ask, you'll get answered. So that's great if you always pray, and now you also pray during those 5 minutes of the Rosh Chodesh, whatever, special time, right? But imagine a guy never prays. And he thinks, oh, I don't have to pray. I'll just pray in this Rosh Chodesh, and it's Misugal time, and that's it. And then I'm patur the rest of the time. That's definitely not what the Segula wants you to do. That's not what what the sage who came up with the Segula, who said the Segula, doesn't agree that you don't do the mitzvah, you just do the Segulot. So therefore a person says, no, Torah mivei lidei zehirut. So therefore a person has to be careful not to fall into that trap. Hine b'chazeh, and gan ken kviut ha'etim, ele cheshbon ha'maaseh v'tikuno. You have to set aside time for self-reflection and to realize, do I have bad friends? Do I make jokes about the Torah? Do I take the Torah seriously? Do I have Yirat Shamayim? Do I study Torah? Do I do fall into this wrong mentality of, oh, it's my business, everything's mutar? Rabbi, it's not called stealing, it's called business. Do I have that mentality? Do I fall into that sometimes? If you don't set aside time to think about that, so then it'll never really be part of you. People set aside time for jogging. People set aside time for, watching their show. People have set aside time for the parties. They have to set aside time for this as well. As there's a nice story he brings over here. He says that the Yetzer Hara always tries to take our free time, right? He says there was a young man who came to the Hasidic rabbi, and he asked him, Rabbi, I have a store for my father. I inherited it, but he was doing very well. I'm doing very bad. I'm not making parnasah. He says, what do you do when there's no customers? He says, I read the newspaper, or I look outside, what's going on in the street. He says, there you go. I remember your father when he was in the store, when he had free time, what did he do? You opened the book, you started learning. He said Tehillim, you started learning. But you gave into the Yetzer Hara your free time, you let the Yetzer Hara steal from you. And therefore, that's why Hashem makes it, that the people don't come to your store. He says, the Pirkei Eliezer says, if you have Zechut, Hashem will send angels to put in people's minds they should go and buy from you specifically. They send you Parnasa. You need the Zechut. The Zechut is bring books with you to work. Baruch Adonai Olam.